Good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. I use she, her pronouns. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community as your minister. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community with one great aim: proclaiming the power of love at the core of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love of self, and love for our planet. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. I'm joined today by Sharene Watsen, who is serving as our celebrant, and our special guest musician and friend of the fellowship, Mike Cutler. Mike, thanks for being here with us today. Mike is an enrolled member of the Shoshone-Bannock tribe in Fort Hall, Idaho, and was raised in the Lakota tribe on the Standing Rock Reservation, North and South Dakota. We're blessed to be able to have Mike's voice and drums and music and experience joining us today. Thank you. Let's take a moment to welcome our online community on Zoom. Give a wave. We're so glad you're out there, Zoom family and congregation. We invite you to turn your cameras on for a moment, if you're able, so that we can see your beautiful faces and welcome you into this space. Maybe we can see your beautiful faces, but we know you're there, and we love that you're there. We appreciate, there they are. Oh, look, you got a cheer, friends, everyone. Good morning. Welcome, Janet and Pamela and Mary and Odell and Linda and Edith. Look at all those cameras coming on. Hi, Eileen. Sometimes I get a little jealous of our Zoom congregation, like they're in their kitchen with their coffee. They're comfortable. We're going to do pajama church again in December so we can all join them. Yeah, that's right. A special welcome to our newcomers, those of you that are joining us for the first or second time. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community, and we're so glad that you have chosen us today. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us here after the service in our hospitality space or in our chat online so that we can warmly welcome you. We have newcomer forms that you can fill out on the carts in the entryway, and we'll post a link in the chat so that we can keep you posted with all that is happening here in our fellowship. And our Inquirers series, our special series for newcomers designed to introduce you to this fellowship in Unitarian Universalism, continues today. We explore the theme of worship and our liturgical year. Sharene and I will be your hosts today, and we'll be meeting in my office, which is always fun to get everyone to kind of come in and take a little formality out of the space, because it's really a cool space. So I look forward to meeting with all of our newcomers after the service. Each week we center and gather ourselves and light our flaming chalice, the symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. As we light the chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you online, if you have a chalice or a candle nearby, to light it with us, and then share with one another in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. I'd like to invite Mike up for our gathering music this morning. As we were putting together this service, Carrie sent Mike our order of service, and he carefully looked through it and chose songs that he felt best reflected the moment in the service. That was really moving. Thank you.
Mitakuyapi, my relatives. My name is Mike Cutler. As she said, my dad is Parley and Tex Cutler, Fort Hall, Idaho. My mother, Helen Burnett Cutler, Fort Washakie, Wyoming, Eastern Shoshone. When I was 8 years old, our family moved to Fort Yates, North Dakota on the Standing Rock Reservation. And I grew up there, and I lived out there in the Dakotas until 2006 when I came back to Boise. Been in this community since then. It's good to be here. My boys, my ex-wife, everybody, all my in-laws used to all come to Booth. And so I used to come in here and the building never fell down, it's all good. But I got asked to come and sing you some songs today, and I'm happy to do so. I'm not I'm not a spiritual leader or a healer. I'm just a counselor in the community here. When I was a kid growing up back on Standing Rock, they used to always tell us that you got to learn these songs because then you'll always be useful to the people. And it's true. We travel around and everywhere we go, I always get asked to do this. And it's weird because when you live on a reservation, nobody ever asks me to do this. But when I come to Boise, I'm the expert. And it's a pretty awkward situation to be in. Anyway, just so I ask forgiveness for my elders and the relatives who grew up in these ways, with these songs and with these traditions. I came back to these traditions when I was younger, and then also after I sobered up. Became very much a huge part of sobriety and healing, knowing these songs and living this way. It's a lifestyle. So this song I'm going to start off with is a Wochekia Oloa. It's a prayer song. And I was sitting there trying to think, how did this song go again? I was trying to figure it out and remember, so I don't mess it up. So I want to honor these things, So in this song, it starts off, it says, I pray to this great spirit, to this creator first, because I want to live with my relatives. And, we usually sing this song anytime we're going to pray, before we have a ceremony or we're going to have a gathering and there's some sort of spiritual element to it, we sing this song. So if you can, some people ask that people stand, but if you don't want to, that's okay too. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to have
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
Our spiritual theme for this month of October is the practice of deep listening. And this is a month filled with invitations to that practice, particularly from those to whom we have historically failed to listen or chosen not to listen, and the harm that has caused communities of people. This is the month which honors the Jewish high holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Dia de los Muertos and the pagan ritual of Samhain, the Hindu celebration of Diwali, and also LGBTQ plus History Month, the National Coming Out Day yesterday. And apparently today is Clergy Appreciation Day. Did you know this? I couldn't leave that out, but I just learned that this morning. So we allow all of these interfaith, national, and cultural holidays invite us into the practice of deep listening to those whom society often silences. Today we practice deep listening to the stories, music, and lived experiences of Native American lives in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day tomorrow. So I would be remiss if I did not remind you and invite you to join us tomorrow evening for our Indigenous Peoples Day program featuring special guest Linnell Brady of Duck Valley Shoshone Paiute Reservation, speaking on the topic, Understanding Why Cultural and Traditional Values Are Important to Native People. You can join us here in person or on Zoom, and that information is on our website. As we enter into this time of deep listening and worship together, I invite you all to take a breath together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, to our planet. Our breath offers us the opportunity for stillness, to tune into our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
always thought those bulls were kind of cool. Talking about centering, we have Inipi Kagapi. That's what these songs are from. It's a sweat lodge ceremony. So we're going to turn up the heat really high. Put blankets over the windows so it's nice and dark. This song is a Tate Topa Olawa, means a four winds song, or four directions, we call it. Although there's really 7 verses. And the song is, it's a spirit calling song. And so centering is really what it's for. And so we use it to start. Again, it's another starting song. We call the spirits in to help us, and whatever they are. And they come from the 4 directions, the sky to earth, and that placed inside each of us in the center. So we have 7 directions. And Mike looked at his compass, and he says, the west is that way. I said, I'm supposed to know this because I'm a native, but I don't. So when we sing this song, we always face that way when we sing that first verse. And we sing that, we say, we're looking to the west. And then we say, there's a grandfather, he's looking this way. And then Chekiayo, we're going to pray to him, because he's sitting there looking this way. And so we go to the 4 directions, and then Machpiata, Unchimaka to the grandmother, and then Makasitomi to that place inside each of us where the Great Spirit is, where the Creator is. All things come to there, and everything goes from there. And so when I'm singing this song, I'm going to do that. I'm going to face those directions. If you want to do that, you can, but it's just up to you. I have a lot of elders here, and so you can please take care of yourself when we're singing these songs. You don't have to do these things. So I'll do my best.
call to worship this morning is from Robin Wall Kimmerer in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of Plants. Know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so that you may take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first. Never take the last. Take only what you need. Never take more than half. Leave some for others. Take only that which is given. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what you have been given. Give a gift in reciprocity for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever. Come, let us worship together.
In our promise of building beloved community, we celebrate our commitments to being a multi-generational community, a community of generosity, and a community of care and connection. And in that spirit, I would like to invite all of our young people to come down for our Time for All Ages this morning. We have props today. Good morning, friends.
My wonderful friends. Scoot this way. Scoot this way.
Isn't that drumming
Towards me.
awesome this morning? Can you feel it in your body? Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it?
Okay. So, all of this month, we are exploring deep listening. Who can tell me how we practiced deep listening last week? Anyone here who remembers? Were you here last week?
Yes,
What did we
Amelia
do?
opened the Wonder Box last week.
We listened to a conch shell, which connects us to our hearts and how we kind of tap into figuring out what to listen to. Now, this week, we are going to think of who falls into the unlistened to category. There's things that we all commonly listen to. Lots of us knew what we meant when we pulled out the conch shell, and we knew that that's a way we can hear the ocean, our heartbeats. But we have tons of people and groups who are not commonly listened to, who have been ignored and silenced. In honor of tomorrow being Indigenous Peoples Day, we are going to hear a wisdom tale that comes from the Lakota. This story was given to the Native people many winters ago. When it was time for all the young mothers in the village to go out to gather fruits and berries, the old grandmothers, whose legs could no longer walk quickly, were left to care for the young children of the village. The young mothers honored the grandmothers by giving them this great responsibility. It is a great and wonderful responsibility to care for you all. It is believed that all young children have many dreams and visions to collect before they are grown. With the grandmothers close by and all the children decided to cuddle up and take naps in the warmth of the darkened lodge before the sun traveled his full path of the day. One of these days, while the young children slept, Crow and Magpie, over here, two noisy winged ones, were having a terrible argument outside the lodge of the sleeping children. It was an uproar. They were both speaking at once. And they could not hear each other's point of view on the subject of which tree belonged to which bird. One of the grandmothers went to quiet the voices outside so they would not wake the children. She tried to scare the birds away. She could not get the attention of the screaming crow or the yelling magpie. So, she called to the eagle for help. Eagle, the great winged one, was a sacred bird for both the native people and all the other animals on earth. He was full of wisdom, and everyone looked up to him with their problems. That grandmother asked, "Oh, Brother Eagle, can you chase off these two noisy ones so our children can dream?" With the mighty flap of his wings, Eagle sailed towards the noisy pair, flapping those great wings. He gave a great call of warning to crow and magpie. Eagle noise. Yeah, thank you. They were busy fighting. They did not even hear him. When Eagle saw this, he yelled louder and came closer. This is what happened. Crow screamed. As he flapped his wings in the air so hard, he nearly fell off his perch. Magpie yelled as he flapped his wings up a storm. He flapped up a storm. Suddenly, they both realized they had flapped their wings so hard without looking at what they were doing, they hit one of Eagle's wings. What is worse? One of the sacred feathers of Eagle fell out and landed on a small branch, suspended upon Mother Earth. And I want to say, this is representational, and this is a turkey wing, or feather, turkey feather. Feather. If this was the whole wing, oh my gosh, I could not imagine trying to hold that up. It was a great offense to touch Eagle, much less cause one of his feathers to come off. This is exactly right. Everyone was silent. Magpie spoke to Eagle.
"Oh, Brother Eagle, we did not hear you so near. I'm truly sorry for the injury I have caused you."
Now, Crow was surprised to hear such an honorable thing come from the mouth of this rude neighbor. He spoke to Eagle with dignity.
"I have many times been a naughty bird, but Brother Eagle, I think this may be the worst I have done in many moons. I am so very sorry you have lost a sacred feather."
Crow and Magpie both went to retrieve Eagle's feather, and their eyes met. And with no words at all, they both knew that this mistake would have happened if they had not been fighting. Magpie took the feather in his beak and spoke.
"I am ashamed, Brother Eagle, that my loud talk and harsh words were more important to me than solving our problem."
Crow took the feather from Magpie and said,
"We have disturbed the two-legged children and torn your wing and a sacred feather, and now we return it to you with a request for your forgiveness."
Eagle had watched this all with wise eyes and an open heart. He knew the lesson of listening had been learned by his little brothers, and he saw that the grandmother looked on with learning eyes as well. So he spoke to Crow and Magpie.
"Give my feather and the branch it rests on to the grandmother. Grandmother, connect to my sacred feather to the branch. Dress the branch with beads and leather and fur to make it even more beautiful. Keep it in your lodge and teach others to create this fine-looking stick.
Eagle continued on.
We will call this sacred item a talking stick. Tell all the people that when they come together at any gathering where ears might be shut, to bring out the talking stick and let only the holder speak. This will be done in an honorable manner, letting everyone have his say. Pass the stick until all have spoken. Then a vote can be taken, and the side who gathers the most votes will make the final decision.
Which of our principles does this best relate to? I ask the children this every Sunday, but I want to impromptu. Which principle does this best relate to? Yeah. Compassion. This is a good value we have, compassion. 5, all people have a say. Thank you. Okay. Grandmother gathered up the branch and the feather. She was very honored to have learned this lesson as well. And every grandmother from that day on has told this story and helped young ones to make talking sticks. So lovely. This is the end. Thank you to my bird actor.
Thank you. Thank you, Freddie.
One thing I love about this story is how it lifts up and has us listen to the wisdom from a group that has historically not been listened to, Indigenous people. And it shines a light on how important it is to make sure all voices have a chance to be heard, fifth principle, and shows us that we need to be making it a practice to include all voices, maybe not just the loudest, squawkiest ones. All right, my friends. Before we head out to our children's religious exploration and youth's religious exploration, we have another song to listen to.
Yeah, you guys get the front row view for this last song before we sing our community blessing together.
White people are funny.
Thank you.
Talking about reflection, there's big long stories behind all of the songs that we sing and all the different ways that we think about stuff, just like this one, that talking stick. A lot of times we use a drumstick for a talking stick when we're having meetings and different things. And it works really well, and so thank you for that. That's fun. This song that I'm going to sing is a pipe song, Chanupa Olo. And there's a long story that goes with where the pipe came from and how it's used. And some of us are pipe carriers in this community, and we get asked to do things. So this song is for that first pipe that came many, many years ago, that White Buffalo Calf woman brought the first pipe to the people. And they say it still exists out there in South Dakota at Greengrass. It's being kept by a man named Arva Looking Horse out there on the Cheyenne River Reservation. And this song is for that pipe. And when we bring the pipe in on the third round of the sweat lodge and we light it and we're passing it, a lot of times we'll sing this song. And it's a very reflective, to me anyway, song. It makes me think about just this way of life and just all the commitments we have to make in order to honor that pipe and honor these traditions, this lakowicho. And the words of this one, Oyate wa maya kapu, people look towards this one who's speaking. Le chanumpa kin le wakanya lo, this pipe before you is sacred. And then the last verse that ends, Oyate yanipiktelo, that means that people, you will live. And so I'll try to do this one justice too. Waka wa mahaya kabuya aheyu. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. Le chano bahakile wakahaye heluya. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya aheyu. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. Le chano bahakile wakahaye heluya. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya aheyu. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. O ya te wa mahaya kabuya. Le chano bahakile wakahaye heluya. O ya te yane pikteloya aheyu. Oh, Douglas.
Now we'll sing our community blessing together as you all head off to your religious exploration time.
Youth that way, children this way.
Junior high school youth this way, younger folks this way.
Robin Wall Kimmerer writes, "We are showered every day with gifts, but they are not meant for us to keep. Their life is in their movement, the inhale and exhale of our shared breath. Our work and our joy is to pass along the gift and to trust that what we put out into the universe will always come back. So each week we collect and pass along our gifts in acknowledgement of the abundance in our lives and committing ourselves to the work of justice and compassion for all people on our earth. This month we share those gifts with our plate partner, the Duck Valley Indian Reservation, as part of our ongoing commitment to right relationship with our Indigenous neighbors. I invite the ushers to come forward and our offering will be gratefully received.
As our ushers bring our offering gifts forward, I invite you all to join together in our collective blessing of our offering. We bless these gifts so freely given. May generosity always be our companions as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. Thank you.
Our reading today is by Joyce Sutphin, who happened to be my college professor back at Gustavus Adolphus College in Minnesota. It's called How to Listen. Tilt your head slightly to one side and lift your eyebrows expectantly. Ask questions. Delve into the subject at hand or let things come randomly. Don't expect answers. Forget everything you've ever done. Make no comparisons. Simply listen. Listen with your eyes as if the story you are hearing is happening right now. Listen without blinking as if a move might frighten the truth away forever. Don't attempt to copy anything down. Don't bring a camera or a recorder. This is your chance to listen carefully. Your whole life might depend on what you hear. Let us join together and rise in body or spirit and sing the beautiful hymn written by Carrie and Mike that we heard our choir sing last Sunday, Listen Deeply. There's sheet music available on chairs for those who like to have the notes and the lyrics, and the words will also be on our screen.
Thank you. And thank you, Carrie and Mike, for that beautiful, beautiful hymn. After hearing the choir sing it so beautifully last Sunday, I wanted to bring it back as much as possible this month. And it's a good reminder, the lyrics in that hymn, because as a culture, we've not really been taught how to listen. And by culture, I mean our white culture, our dominant Western European white culture whose habits and values and mores still influence every facet of American culture. We've been taught how to speak our minds, how to argue. Today's social media platforms certainly thrive on that model with virtually no consequences or invitations of any kind to listening. We've been taught how to problem solve, how to give advice, how to fix and save according to our own ideas and standards. Our history offers us far too many examples of oppression and marginalization of many people that resulted from our fixing and saving, resulting in deep generational harm caused by those actions. But we really haven't been taught how to listen deeply, because it is something we have to learn and practice in order to do it well. I don't think it comes really naturally. I didn't really learn to begin and engage with the spiritual practice of deep listening until I began seminary. And wow, was it difficult. Just allowing someone else space to share their story, their lived experience, their emotions, their truths, requires quieting our own inner voice and our thoughts and our judgments and even our helpful tips yearning to come out. Deep listening invites us to de-center our own experience and receive another's with as much presence, curiosity, non-judgment, and empathy as possible. And really, it requires complete and utter presence of mind, body, and spirit. And to be the recipient of that kind of listening is powerful. It helps us find our way. It helps us hear our own inner wisdom. How many of you have been the recipient of that kind of listening at least once in your life? It's pretty spectacular. And that kind of listening doesn't just guide us through the world, it surely helps, but it also creates our world. Our listening creates our world. It is our listening that helps us construct the world we live in. So deep listening then can make room for the stories and experiences and the people sharing them that we might not have yet included in that constructed world, or that were not a part of our own life and our experience growing up. Deep listening invites us to suspend what we think is true or what we have been taught is true and tune into the experiences being shared. It's a powerful tool that can help us continue to construct and deconstruct and reconstruct our world, allowing it to expand and grow as we expand and grow. Deep listening offers us a way to begin and continue the process of repair to the very communities who have been harmed by the centuries of oppression that continues today from our failure to deeply listen. So I want to offer you some stories for your deep listening. As we here at the Fellowship get ready to honor Indigenous Peoples Day tomorrow with a beautiful guest speaker for the third year in a row, we welcome the spiritual growth Indigenous Peoples Day invites, inviting us, asking us to reimagine Columbus Day and change a celebration of colonialism into an opportunity to explore deeper historical truths about the genocide and oppression of Indigenous peoples, while also organizing against current injustices and celebrating Indigenous resistance. But let us not forget that it has only been 3 years since President Biden became the first US president to formally commemorate the holiday in lieu of Columbus Day. and that today it is only officially recognized by about a dozen states or 100 or so cities across the country. And let's consider for a moment that many of us spent decades celebrating Columbus Day as a day of discovery of this country by Christopher Columbus, which actually brought incredible violence, disease, and forced removal of native peoples. How many of you had to learn the 1492 song and sing it again and again every year? Yeah. And in those decades of learning about and celebrating Columbus Day, how many of us were also taught about the doctrine of discovery that followed Columbus into the New World? That 1492 papal decree that gave Christian empires the religious authority to invade and claim lands, resources, and peoples that were not Christian. That doctrine that became a guiding principle of public and international law for hundreds of years. The doctrine that our own Supreme Court upheld back in 1823, stating that, quote, discovery gave an exclusive right to extinguish the Indian title of occupancy, either by purchase or by conquest. And rarely do we learn about or talk about the painful truths of our Unitarian history. Like Associate Justice Joseph Story, who sat on that Supreme Court bench in the majority, who was a Unitarian and later served as president of the American Unitarian Association, upholding the doctrine of discovery to extinguish Indian occupancy. That's an uncomfortable part of the story to hear. Those are not usually the historical Unitarians that we talk about from the pulpit. We like to talk about the champions of injustice and righting wrongs. My inner voice gets pretty loud with defensive comebacks like, but we don't believe that anymore, or I have never believed that, or it's not our fault that our ancestors were so narrow-minded and bigoted. And even we Unitarians since have passed several general resolutions repudiating the doctrine of discovery and pledging ourselves to dismantling white supremacy culture and the legacies of settler colonialism. Or this one, which I hear often in liberal and conservative circles, that was in the past. Things are so much better now. That's the inner voice. But remember, deep listening is about quieting the inner voice. It is not about my comfort. In fact, in moments like this, it is about leaning into the discomfort, into the pain these stories bring up in me, and then allowing them to inform my choices moving forward. So listen to how contemporary Native American activist Mark Charles, member of the Navajo Nation, tells the story of what it feels like to be a Native American and U.S. citizen at the same time. Here are his words. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and landed on the shore of my grandmother's house. A question I get frequently asked is, how does it feel to be a Native American and a citizen of the United States? I often tell people that it feels like our Native community is an old grandmother who has a very large and beautiful house. And years ago, some people came into our house and they locked us up upstairs in the bedroom. Today, our house is full of people. They're sitting on our furniture, they're eating our food, they're having a party in our house. They've even come upstairs and unlocked the door to the bedroom. But it's much later, and we're tired. We're old, we're weak, we're sick, so we can't or we don't come out. But the thing that is most painful, he writes, is that nobody comes upstairs to find the grandmother in the bedroom. Nobody sits next to us on the bed and simply says, "Thank you. Thank you for letting us be in your house." Let us listen to those words. Let us sit in the pain of their truth. Let us say thank you for letting us be in your house. And we know we have not always taken good care of this house. Not only have we come in and made ourselves at home and had a party, but we've completely renovated. We've reconstructed the house in our own image, according to our own specific tastes and beliefs and values, without ever really stopping to consider that there may be a different way, a more beautiful way, a more harmonious way, a more spiritual way, a more balanced way. And again, we Unitarians played a role in that reconstruction. When our own American Unitarian Association established and ran its own Indian boarding school on the Crow Reservation in Montana, called the Montana Industrial School for Indians, or Bond's Mission School, run by Unitarian Reverend and Mrs. Henry Ford Bond, Henry F. Bond. In one paper about the school, the author noted that the Crow parents wanted to be close to their children, but the Reverend Bond would not allow it in order to maintain discipline and to pursue indoctrination without the outside influences of the family. In my further reading about the school and Reverend Bond, I encountered disturbing words written by Reverend Bond and by J.F.B. Marshall, who was then the secretary of the Bureau of Southern and Indian Educational Work of the American Unitarian Association. Their writing spoke of civilizing students, lifting them out of some imagined degraded home life with, quote, no one to look after them, and instead teaching them to, quote, love neatness, cleanliness, and practical Christian life, upon which they will enter at once upon a life of usefulness, and like the Negro graduates in the South, will do credit to their training and become zealous and successful laborers for the civilization of their race. In our deep listening of those words, let us sit in the pain of the greater truth they tell. And there were more words I just cannot in good faith read aloud to you. They expressed certainly the overwhelming sentiment of the time, but repeating them gives them voice and power and perpetuates a view of our indigenous neighbors that has contributed to generations of harm and oppression. And these stories are not new. I suspect many of you have heard them or ones like them before, perhaps not with the Unitarian historical lens. But we cannot listen only once, for it's in our practice of listening to hard truths, of listening to the unlistened to, again and again and again, that we invite the shifts to happen. I have one more story for you, one that is relatively recent and involved this congregation's social justice work and our Plate Partner program. Back in 2020, our Social Justice Council reached out to the Idaho Indigenous Alliance about being a Plate Partner. This was before our current relationship and Plate Partner work with Duck Valley. And we explained to them what the Plate Partner program was and how it worked, and that we wanted an organizational leader to come and join us on the first Sunday of the month for a 3 to 5 minute pitch about the work of the organization, because it helps people feel more connected to the work and often increases giving. We received an email response that was really difficult to read and certainly brought up a lot of feelings of shame and guilt. And I want to share that response with you. They responded back to us, "Y'all are on violently dispossessed territory originally inhabited by the Shoshone, Paiute, Bannock, and Yakama nations. Dismantling your bias and racism cannot occur in a good way while insisting upon the participation of Indigenous folks. Our, quote, messages of resistance are in fact acts of political defiance to ensure our own survival. It would have been more appropriate to receive an email that read, we have been dismantling our racism and bias and want to offer our plate to your organization, where can we send a check? When we show up and introduce ourselves in 3 to 5 minutes, we are essentially relegating our lifetimes of experiencing racism and oppression to seconds in comparison for money. That's extractive and inappropriate. They were not wrong. But wow, is that a painful truth to hear and read and wrestle with? But we did wrestle with it, and we listened, and we changed the approach to our plate partner program for every plate partner. In that same response, they invited us to donate the funds to the students of the Intertribal Native Council, but asked us not to require any effort of them, reminding us that these students are already strapped for time and energy, and let alone they are students of color navigating a predominantly white institution. Just mail them the check, which we did. We also dramatically changed our invitation to organizational representatives to speak in the pulpit, ensuring that they understood that this is not a requirement to be a plate partner, but is an invitation merely intended to give them a platform to share their mission and their voice. And now we assure them that we chose them because we know and appreciate their good work in our community and that they will receive our donation at the end of the month regardless. We also continued our listening and learning through the wonderful programs and learning opportunities offered by our racial justice ministry, which continue even now, tomorrow. And these are small things. These are small shifts in comparison to the enormous task of systemic change and culture change. But each little shift began with confronting and listening to painful truths and deeply listening. And each little shift is a building block to building the world we dream about, a world of collective flourishing, a world centered on love and community care, a world where we reverse the erasure of so many and instead celebrate Indigenous cultures and all the cultures we seek to welcome into our beloved community. It feels appropriate to close with words from an Indigenous voice. This is a quote from Matika Wilbur from her article, "I'm Dreaming About a Modern World That Doesn't Erase Its Indigenous Intelligence." They write, "I keep having these recurring dreams where I'm on a plane or a train and all the people around me, native and non-native, are speaking in different Indigenous languages. I hear Paiute, Lahotseed, Diné, Catawba, and they're feeding their babies wild rice and smoked fish. I'm dreaming about a modern world that doesn't erase its Indigenous intelligence, but rather embraces the rich complexity of Indigenous culture. This can be actualized if we all bring our hearts and minds together. The land we walk on is Indian land, whether it be suburban cul-de-sac, the land of a church, or city streets. Echoes of Indian existence are all around us. It is up to us to listen. May it be so." I'd like to invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer. This beautiful prayer written for this time, this day, adapted from the Reverend Steve Garnas Holmes. Creator of the many and the one. We are all here, we and our siblings, and we ask your blessing on us all, especially the ones we have tried to dominate, the ones whose land we have taken, the Shoshone, Paiute, the Bannock. We have tried to eliminate them, the Pawnee, the Cherokee, the Salish. But they are here. We are here together on the land. Our siblings have not rebelled against us. They are here with us in peace. The Tlingit, Inupiat, the Hopi, They have stewarded the land for ages, the Maya, the Tekoha, the Maasai, and they are here teaching us. They have honored their wisdom and passed it on for generations. The Cree, the Lakota, the Seminole, and we would learn from them. Bless our siblings of the earth, the Wiradjuri, the Maori, the Sami, and move us toward humility and reconciliation, to learn and make reparations, to work together. Move us toward mutual respect and restore among us the harmony of siblings in one beautiful home. God of the one and of the many, bless our manyness and make us one. In the name of the four winds, in the name of the seven directions, in the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen.
Yeah, what she said. We offer these songs in the hope that there's some good that comes out of it whenever we do these things. Everything in the Sweat Lodge is all about life and things that are here and are alive. And one of the Lakota words that I always loved, because it's one of the words that people use when they're talking about the Creator. And a lot of non-native people, sometimes they'll say, that's how they say God. They'll say, I don't know if no, it's not the same thing. But the Lakota word is daku, wakashkashka. Now you got to repeat that after me. Daku, but what it means is there's something holy that's moving. What is it that makes the sunrise every morning and set in the evening? How come the seasons change? How come babies grow into adults? How come we heal when we're sick? How come we can find the ability to change and become and think about things differently? And so I just wanted to share that. We offer these songs in hope that some kind of healing happens. That there's you leave here feeling different about whatever it is that you need to feel different about. I guess whatever. Yeah. This song is we call it a. When I first heard it, people said it was a Thanksgiving song, and I was like, no, we gotta change the name. So we call it a wopila or pilamaya. Wopila means I give you a hearty, heartfelt thank you. I shake your hand as a relative. And the words are wakantan katan kashla, Great Spirit Grandfather. Pilamaya yellow. I thank you. Shanupa wakan cha mayaku elo means it's like you've given me a sacred pipe, and then we chose aniwa mayaku elo. You've given me a good healing, and I'm thankful for that. So, with that, I want to thank you for allowing me to come and be here with you. It's always an honor to come and be a heathen savage amongst the other people who are here. So Thanksgiving song.
Mike, thank you for accepting the invitation and sharing yourself and your culture and your language and your beautiful music with us. Thank you, truly. Friends, I invite you to place your hands over your heart for our closing blessing. Let us listen more deeply to all of the stories, to the holy moving all around us, giving thanks for every part of the story, for all the truths, however painful, for the challenges that become the light by which we better see ourselves and our world. Let us not turn away. Let us ask for forgiveness and seek reparations that we might someday dance together in the light of peace and love and the flourishing of our world. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.